Hello and a very warm welcome to another session of GlobalSBM Business Talk. Today, we are honored to have Mr. Joseph Jeong with us as our guest speaker. Mr. Joseph Jeong is a Wall Street veteran, entrepreneur, angel investor, mentor, and an educator. He served as advisor and mentor at the X Lab in China's top university, Tsinghua and Oya Opportunities. He also served as mentor and a resident Fintech expert at Chinaccelerator. Joseph received his Entrepreneurship Training Certificate from MIT, Leadership Training from Hive, and Exponential Technology Training from Singularity University. From the alleyways of China to the street of New York, Joseph immigrated to United States from China with nothing. He started working at the age of 9, and by age of 14, he had found his passion in investing and trading. He graduated from the University of California, Los Angeles, and went on to have a successful career at UBS and Dutch Bank. He also helped co-found a successful Asian hedge fund and co-found an institutional brokerage in the middle of the global financial crisis. Joseph is co-founder and metabagnalist of a Metaverse company, Morpheus League, and Future Hack Co. We are very much honored to have you with us, Joseph. The floor is all yours. You need to unmute, Joseph. Something like that.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with you guys today. I'm always happy to help out you guys. And today I want to talk to you about something very new and very exciting. And I've been with some amazing companies through my life, and this one is truly unbelievable. I would have to say it's definitely the most exciting thing I've ever been involved with, and I want to tell everybody about that, and I want to tell everybody how they can participate too. This is something that anyone can participate in, and how they can make money from it. They can be a part of it. They can learn new things. So that's what I want to tell you today is something very exciting. So can I share my screen? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen.
You should be able to share the screen, your co-host.
Okay. Let's see. All right, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And I'm not on mute, am I? Okay, good. Now, so welcome everybody, and really good to be here with you guys. I want to tell you about my new company, Morpheus League, and I want to really introduce to you guys, in case you don't know, some of the things that everyone's talking about, but very few people have actually experienced. Is what is the metaverse, and how can you be a part of it? Because that is one of the very few things that doesn't exclude anyone. Anyone can be a part of the metaverse, and anyone can make money and can make a living in the metaverse, and they can start doing that today. It's not something that you have to learn and get a degree and hope to go to the best university just to be able to learn this and do this. You can actually do this today. And so I want to introduce to you what our company does, and what the metaverse is and how you can actually be a part of it. So it's a really exciting topic. Like I said, out of all of my years in business and the companies that I've started, this one is definitely the most rewarding and as well as the most exciting. So right now, hold on one second. So right now we have almost 1,000 players in our gaming community. And the gaming community is called Morpheus League. It is one of the places where anybody can join and thrive in the metaverse with Morpheus League. And right now we have close to 1,000 players. We add almost 100 players a week, and our total community with all our social networks, we have over 50,000 people following us already. And right now we're competing in 9 video games online, and they're called play to earn games, meaning instead of you paying to play the game and buying stuff on there, you actually get paid to play that game. And I want to show you guys how we can help you do that, and how we can help people around the world be able to join in and be able to experience the metaverse, play games, and make money while doing it. So currently, here are some of the, the gaming market is a huge market. It's a $170 billion market. And these play to earn games, meaning the games that pay you to play, only account for 9% of that. So $15 billion worth right now. And I'd say this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be a lot more people coming into the to play games and to do a lot of other things too. So it's not just gaming; it's being able to socialize, being able to do business in the metaverse. And some of these other companies have only started 2 years ago, and they're worth $4 or $5 billion already. And I mean, they've only started less than 2 years ago. So this is, you know, when you're talking about online gaming, and when you're talking about the metaverse companies, it's unbelievable how fast these companies can grow, because there's no boundaries. And I'll explain that very soon. So before we go into that, I want to tell you my journey, and I want to tell you how that relates to what is going on right now. Okay. I was born in China, and in the 70s in China, there was very little opportunity. Okay. So if you were born there, no matter how smart you are, no matter how well you do in school or anything, there's very few jobs, there's very little opportunity. Now, that's not the case now. Today, China is a very prosperous place. But back then, it was a very poor country, and there was very few opportunities. So I was lucky enough to be one of the first people to immigrate to America from China at that early time. And back then, it was really hard to do. And it was, China had been in isolation for 30 years. So everyone was poor in China at that time. And we were no different. And when we came to America, we had nothing. So I started delivering newspapers and working in restaurants when I was 9 years old. But we were in America, and America is kind of like the metaverse now, where once you get to America, there was no borders, no ceilings, no one restricting how fast you can grow and how much you can make, and if you really studied hard and worked hard, you can make a lot of money. There was no boundaries. There's no ceiling for you. You can do whatever you want. Whereas in China, is kind of like, you know, where China back then is kind of a lot of, you know, very poor and everything else. So we went from a place where no matter how smart you are, there was no opportunities, to a place with endless possibilities, endless opportunities, as long as you work hard. And we really started working hard. So when I was 14 years old, I was still working at the restaurant, and all of these very, very wealthy people came into the restaurant, and I said, how do you guys make so much money? How do you guys buy such a nice car? And their response was, well, we work on Wall Street. I said, what is Wall Street? That's really exciting. What is that? And so slowly they told me, and slowly I read the newspaper, I read books, and this was when I was 14 years old. And I learned a lot of the stuff on my own, because when you're motivated to learn on your own, you can learn at 24 hours a day. You don't have to only learn when school it starts and when you have that class. You can learn anything. When you're really passionate about something, you can learn it at any moment, right? So I was reading this all day long, and I just loved it, and I just wanted to learn more every single day. And I did that all on my own with, just newspapers and books, and watching TV, and that's it. Now, I had, when I was in high school, I had a moonshot goal. A moonshot goal is like, everyone has to have a moonshot goal. Okay, all of you students have to have a moonshot goal. And what a moonshot goal is, whatever you think the highest goal that you have, times that by 100. Okay, what is the ultimate, like, just whatever unimaginable goal you have, times that by 100. Okay. So I wrote on the top here, I wrote that my aspiration was to someday be the owner of my own firm on Wall Street. Okay. And at that time, nobody that was a minority in the US owned any firms on Wall Street. Okay, that was an impossibility. So my moonshot goal, when I made it, was actually impossible at the time. Of course, when you make your moonshot goal, you still have many years to achieve it, right? And many things could change by then, right? So this Morpheus League, what we do is we empower anyone from anywhere to thrive in the metaverse, and we give them equality, a lot of opportunities, and always a hope for better tomorrow. Okay. And there's, this is one of my favorite quotes that I've heard from this very famous author. She said, there is no such thing as poor people, only people born into poor circumstances. Meaning the people have the same abilities and same talent no matter where they are. Okay. And in fact, the worse your circumstances, you probably have even more motivation, and you want to work harder even, right? So it's not that the person is poor, it's that they were born into poor circumstances, but they have just as much to contribute to everyone, okay? And that's what's really, really important. And so what we want to do is erase all borders and social economic biases. We want to get rid of any restrictions from you being successful. Okay, so make sure you have your moonshot goal. And this is what I'm doing right now. And this was my ultimate moonshot goal. Okay, when I first started working on Wall Street, it was unbelievable. It was, and I was one of the very few Asians that worked on Wall Street and back then, and it was just one of the most exciting things. Some of my clients were, some of the most famous people in the financial world. So it was just, I had such a wonderful time there, but I did it by learning things on my own, and every one of you has that opportunity now, because what is the biggest and the best education platform in the world? It's YouTube. I still to this day learn so much on YouTube every day, because you have to remember this quote: education is what people do to you, and learning is what you do to yourself. So you can learn, if you want to learn something and you want to learn a particular skill, you can learn it on your own, and you're not bound by the time at school or anything, right? But education, you have to pay somebody for, and you actually have to wait for that person to teach you and everything. So that's why education, if you're relying on other people for educating you, that's slow. If you take it upon yourself to learn whatever you want to learn, that can be really fast, and you can learn as much as you want. And most of that learning is free. So what type of games are we playing? So in order to make money in kind of the virtual reality world, it's really like people just don't understand it. They say, well, how is it that you can do things in the virtual world and still make money? So I'm going to show you what some of these things look like. And having being able to play these games and make money, well, you're not going to make huge amounts of money, right? But you're going to make several times the minimum wage for working just a few hours a day, or not working, and you're playing these really cool games for just a few hours a day, and you're getting paid, a very decent salary, okay, for getting, and you're having fun. And most people right now play games, and they pay for playing those games. Now they're getting paid. So this is one of the, and this is all made possible by having the blockchain. If we didn't have blockchain, we couldn't have NFTs, and we couldn't have Bitcoin or any of these cryptocurrencies. So then those are the technologies that are allowing these games to be able to pay each player and everything else. That's the magic behind this whole thing right now. And that's what's exciting. So I want to just show you some examples of the types of games that are coming up this year. This is not like 10 years from now, 5 years from now. This is this year. These games are coming out, okay? I'm going to just show you real quick. Are you seeing the video, Parshu?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
But there is no sound.
Oh, there's no sound?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Maybe you can increase the volume of your laptop. That might help.
Do you hear anything now?
Yes.
I have to praise you like I should. I have to praise you. I have to praise you.
Okay. That's one of the videos. That's one of the games that's upcoming. Okay, and oops, hold on. Okay, and let me show you another game that's coming up. Now imagine you're actually in now imagine you're actually in 3D goggles, with the Oculus goggles, 3D goggles, and you're in this full immersive environment playing this game. Okay, this is okay.
It was reported it is very signal last night. The speaker came from the bad ship.
Signal. It came from past the outer ring. How is that even possible?
His ship has been reported missing for 20 years now. Pretty sure he's not coming back.
We go there. Might not come back. It's this place.
Change everything. Found out we have the map. They're gonna kill us for it.
If that's the case, there's only one thing we can do.
Okay, what did you guys think of what's coming up? Would you guys like to play that and make, I don't know, $5 a day, $10 a day playing games like this just for a couple of hours? Okay, no, I'm not talking about 8 hours or anything like that. I'm talking about just for a few hours a day, you can make, in the beginning, you can make $10, $20 a day. Now, if you're part of our community, you can actually, if you're part of the Morpheus community, you can actually become a kind of assistants. You can help other players. You can become a manager, and you can move up, and you can make a lot more. So if you're helping other students, you're helping other students find out about this game, and you're helping them train, and so we provide training for all the students as well. And if you're helping other students and you're actually becoming a manager, then you can make multiple times that amount. So, and that's just for a few hours a day of work. That doesn't even have to be your full-time job. And you're in these environments, and it's just an amazing feeling. So we actually have a very large ship in Star Atlas, and we can have, I don't know, 100 people in that ship working, and it's just an amazing feeling. So and while they're working, they're actually making cryptocurrencies that they can convert and pay the rent and live a great life with. So that's the kind of the future of play to earn gaming. And so for every player, we actually provide training videos, monthly live streams of the good players, showing you how the new moves and how do you, what can you do to be a better player. We have a regular upskilling, so we can teach them all kinds of things and all kinds of skills, not just playing games, okay? Like computer programming, entrepreneurship, learning how to trade cryptocurrencies and stocks. All of those training programs we provide within our guild. So all you have to do is be a player for us, and for a couple hours a day or something, and you get opportunities like learning about all of these things and other work opportunities, all because you're a member of this community. So our vision is that at first you come in, you play a few hours of games, and then you become a leader. You become a community leader, and you manage other players, and you get other players to join. And then you can make a lot more. And then later on, we have other opportunities besides just playing games, or you can have other opportunities within these games to make even more money. So you can expand your skills, have other opportunities, or learn how to trade stocks, learn how to trade cryptocurrencies. There's all kinds of education that we do through our platform. Now, if you look at the parts of the world that really, really need this, it's the parts that really people don't, not everyone has a bank account. And mostly it's Southeast Asia, South Asia, and Africa and South America. All of these countries and continents really don't have as many of the citizens that have bank accounts, and without a bank account, it's very hard to do business, and it's very hard to thrive without a bank account. And so that's one of the big problems that Bitcoin has solved, and other cryptocurrencies have solved. So in fact, most of the population on Earth are not banked. So over 50% of the people don't have a bank account, and that's why it's Bitcoin, and not only that, but their currencies have fallen as well. So this one is all the red areas and orange areas are where the minimum wage is only $1 to $1 to $2 per hour. And so most of the same areas that I was talking about really has very low income, and that really gives them an opportunity. So now we can, this opportunity is available to anyone, anywhere. So if they have an internet connection, or they have a phone with a Wi-Fi or a cellular connection, then they can play these games, right? And they can join. So anyone from anywhere can join and play and earn money and have a lot of fun too. And not only that, but obviously with our with Morpheus, you're actually able to learn other skills and even use those skills to make even more and to change your life, right? And you're not bounded by all the limitations of where you are. So it doesn't matter what country you are. So if you're in any country, if you're in Bangladesh, you're in India, you're in Indonesia or Thailand or Philippines, it doesn't matter. If you have skills that you can code, you can play games, you can you can design stuff, you can edit videos. All of these skills can be used on our platform and can be additionally monetized. So it's not just playing games, because when you're in the virtual world, there's no boundaries. And that's the beauty of it. And you can get paid a fair value for the skill that you have. And there's no more boundaries. Just because you're in one country, it doesn't matter whether you're in one country or another. And many countries have had their currencies really fall, and this happens every 5 to 10 years in South America and in many other countries as well, right? So in South America, especially with many of the countries, it's happened over and over in the last 30 or 40 years. And so when they adopt something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, just because Bitcoin and Ethereum are more volatile and they move up and down more than the US dollar, but compared to their own currencies, it's quite stable, because most of their own currencies have actually devalued to almost nothing. And it's happened several times over the last few decades. And I've seen, what the internet and how things are progressing and disrupting, right? So, when I was working at UBS, this is this part of the lower left side of your screen. I used to work at UBS, and at one of these trading floors where there's thousands and thousands of people, and on the picture on the right, most of those things have already been automated. So they just don't need as many people to do all of these things. And now with the metaverse, there's all kinds of new jobs that you can do. So it's all kinds of new opportunities, and whatever country you're in, you can do it, because there's no boundaries in the virtual world. Now, one of the very essential skills of the metaverse is computer programming. Now, if you guys, because more and more of the jobs, whether you work at a bank or anywhere, you're more, if you have computer programming skills, that is one of the key skills that you need in order to kind of participate in the metaverse. Now, that's not required for playing games and stuff, but as you go higher, you want to have a higher skilled job. That is one of the most important things. Now, luckily, Southeast Asia, Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, you have Vietnam. So 5 out of the 10 list is in Southeast Asia of places where they already have cryptocurrency knowledge. They already own NFTs, and they're already part of the gaming community. So there's a lot of gamers in these in the Southeast Asia region. So that is where we're focused the most right now. And I think India is definitely a huge market, as well as and that's a very big potential market for this as well. So a few things to remember, and I want to open it up to questions pretty soon, is some of the things that's really helped me be successful is one, you have to find your passion. So when you go into the metaverse, you're going to find all kinds of things, and you can do all kinds of things in there. You can be a new person in there. And this doesn't just apply to the metaverse. This applies to anyone and everyone everywhere, right? If you can find your passion, then you're going to want to do that thing, that that job every single day, and you're going to always be eager to learn. So one of the key things is you got to find something you love doing first. Second, every company is a technology company, so you have to learn the technology. You have to, coding is one of the key things, but you really have to learn about what's going to happen and what is the future. And the higher your moonshot goals are, the higher your goals are, the more people want you to succeed, and the more likely you are to succeed. Okay, so you want to have the highest goal possible, and then put 2 more zeros on that. Okay, and plan your path to your goal. Don't just kind of let life happen to you. You have to be in control. You have to, every single day, you have to say, am I doing something to work towards my goal, right? And if you look at this photo, what do you notice, right? There is a lot of sheep, and there's a fence here, and all the sheep are going through this door here. Now, there's no fence to the left or to the right, but because some sheep have come out here, every sheep is following. And this is what most people do in life, okay? They just follow whatever they think other people are doing, okay? And that's not the way to succeed, right? Because you're always going to be waiting for other people, because everyone is doing the same thing. Try to be different and do your own thing. Don't follow the herd. And you have to be bold and think big. This is one of the best quotes that I've heard in my life. Is the best way to become a billionaire is to help 1 billion people. And that's what we're trying to do right now, is with a company like this, we're able to reach anyone, anywhere in the world. And they can actually, like, even today, just today alone, we got over 50 new members in our community, to join Morpheus. And today's a Sunday, and there's no days of the week in the metaverse. There's no boundaries. If somebody wants to do something, they can do it. Now, here's my contact details. I want to open it up for questions, but the most important part is this link, the Discord link. If you guys want, or if you guys are curious and just want to go in for a look and ask some questions, you can go to this Discord group, and you're gonna get any questions you want answered. And if you're curious about potentially playing games and stuff like that, you'll see all the information in there. And you can also get me on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. But I'd be happy to answer questions, and also tell you anything else that you'd like to hear.
Thank you so much, Joseph. So let me ask a question on behalf of our students. So as we know, you're from China, and then you moved to Wall Street. So you actually want to know about your journey from China to Wall Street in a little bit details, as you were an immigrant. How were things for you? How did it work and all? We would love to hear that.
Sure. When I got to the U.S., I was 8 years old. I didn't speak a word of English, and I started working. We were very, very poor because we didn't have anything. So it was just my mom bringing us up, and so we didn't have anything, and I started working at a very, at 9 years old. I started working, and the way that I got to Wall Street was I asked questions and I was curious. And when I saw some very wealthy people come into the restaurant I was working in, I was 13, 14 years old at the time, but I was curious. I said, well, how do you get so rich? And one of the main things is when they said we work on Wall Street, I was like, oh, what is that? You have to ask more questions. You can't just say, oh, okay, well, I guess Wall Street is pretty cool. That's where you make a lot of money. But then if I never ask them, well, what is it and how do I do it? Then they can't help me, right? You have to be curious. And when you hear something like, oh, that sounds really cool, ask more questions about it. And the other thing is, they used to give me the Wall Street Journal, because at night they would come in for dinner and then they would be finished with the newspaper. They give me the Wall Street Journal and then I would read it. And they gave me the newspaper to read, thinking there's no way that a 13-year-old is going to read the Wall Street Journal. And so they didn't think I was going to do it. I read it, I circled things, I wanted to ask questions. And like a week later, I started asking them all these questions and they were very impressed. Okay. And then they started giving me books to read, telling me which books to get at the library. So many people will ask for help, right? But when people help them, they don't follow through, or they're not willing to do what it takes to continue it, right? So you have to realize there's endless number of people around the world that want to help you. But when they do, you have to be ready to be helped. You have to take action, and you have to say, well, this is great. So when I mentioned it and the people said, hey, here's the Wall Street Journal, why don't you go and read it and you might learn something. If I never read it and I didn't follow through, they would never help me anymore, right? So because I followed through, and then because I wanted, and I was curious, I wanted to learn, then they gave you more and more and more. So there are endless number of people that would help you in this world. It's, are you willing to help yourself? Because once you help yourself, they'll help you more. Okay, that's one of the things that I really learned in my life, and that's one of the most important things to learn.
Thank you so much. And now we will be taking questions